Hi everyone. This video walks through completing the Exam 1 hands-on scenario review for NOS 120. Now, our exam next week is going to have two parts. Part 1 will consist of multiple choice and true-false questions. It will be timed and you'll have one attempt. So make sure you study the Exam 1 Part 1 review topics Word document. And if you open it up, it has a lot of topics that we have covered this semester from each chapter that you want to know, what it is about. So make sure you review that and make some notes to yourself or anything like that before attempting part 1. Okay. Part 2, there is a hands-on scenario that you download from Moodle. And it will come up. You can print this off or just leave it up while you work through it. And it is going to be a step-by-step scenario that you'll want to complete, similar to the exam, the actual part 2 of the exam that you'll get next week, that you're going to complete in NetLabs. So I recommend you practicing this week in NetLabs if you have not used it before, because it is a requirement to use there's going to be a new virtual machine, OpenSUSE virtual machine within NetLabs. It's going to come available, and you will have to complete our exam in that virtual machine. So make sure it'll say Exam 1 NOS 120 virtual machine. Okay, so make sure you complete it there. I'm going to use the one that we've had available at netlabs.nashcc.edu. I'm going to log in. Okay, if you don't have Java installed, again, just make sure you do. Click continue. And we're going to have to enable Java, and we want to start this remote access test as well. And you see, and I'm going to say keep. Okay, it does try to block Java, but we're going to click this to allow it to run. I'm using the Chrome web browser right now. So it still will work. You just can't use this on a Chromebook. Okay, but you can use it on any Windows or Mac PC, or Mac computer or Windows PC that you're using, and you could use the Chrome web browser. You just cannot use a Chromebook computer. Okay, so we are now going to go to Scheduler to schedule us some practice time, reserve an equipment pod for my own use. And you may not have this many out here and available, but we're going to look for the generic PC pod NOS 120. Okay, and I'm going to click as close to this red line as I can so that it'll say start time is now, and I'm just going to reserve it till 1 p.m. But again, this is only your access. You don't have to make sure nobody else is accessing it. This is only for you, so you can access it and reserve it 10 hours if you want to. But I'm just going to use it for this little bit of time. So I'm going to click OK. Click I'm done. And I can automatically enter the lab now. So I'm going to click on Enter Lab. All right, and we see our topology come available. I'm going to click on Actions and Power On. Okay. And I'm going to click on Status. I'm going to click on the actual Word computer, and I'm going to keep this file again. Click on it, and this is going to come up with the actual viewer where I can view this virtual machine. All right, so I have my virtual machine here. Now, in this scenario, you can practice this as much as you want to. Every time you log out and log back in, a fresh image is started. So this is for the practice. For the real exam, once you start it, you cannot undo, you can't get a fresh one, right? So if you want to make some changes to it before the exam due date, you need to clear out the stuff using commands to do that. So once you start that, there's no way to start back over fresh. So make sure you practice on this before going to the real deal Exam 1 virtual machine. Okay, because once you do that, no matter how many times you go into it, your changes are saved so that I can grade it later. Okay, so I'm going to first look at our directions, and again here we've got access a terminal, okay, and switch to the root user. And let me see if I can split the screen here. Okay, so if I want to access a terminal, I can go here, click on terminal. All right, and I get my terminal here. And I'm going to assume root permissions. So I'm going to do SU, hit enter, type in that OpenSUSE password, and voila. Once it turns red, I know I'm in the root user's permissions. Okay, and you can always type "who am I" to see who you are, and it'll show you your root right now. Okay, I was student at first. Okay, so how do I print my working directory? Well, to print your working directory, you do a PWD. Okay, PWD stands for print working directory. It'll tell you where you currently are in the Linux file system. So you always want to make sure you know where you are. Okay, so the first thing it says, create a directory within root's home directory named NOS120. Now, there's a couple steps to that we want to do. Sounds simple enough, and it is, but you got to make sure that you do this correctly. So create a directory within root's home directory. Well, where in the world is that? Root's home directory is just /root, okay? /root. So I got to get there first. So I'm going to type cd, which means change directory, to /root. I am now in root's home directory. Okay, so if I do a PWD as well, again, I see I'm in /root. That's one of those kind of terminology things you need to know. Root's home directory is represented by /root. Okay, so now that I'm there, it wants me to create a directory named NOS120. So I can do mkdir NOS120. Remember, it is case sensitive, so if you see it in all capitals, make sure you do that. Also here, I am making the directory with the mkdir command and then whatever you want to name it. I hit enter. Now, how do I check to make sure that that's there? Well, I can do a ls and hit enter, and we see it right here. Okay, or you can do a ls-l. I like doing ls-l, or the shortcut for that is ll, and hit enter, because it lists them out in a much more usable format, and it also lists your permissions up here at the front that we'll look at more in this lab as well. Okay, so again, make sure that you can see your directory. Okay, now it says within the NOS120 directory, okay, create a directory named OpenSUSE. Now let's break that down once more. Okay, so within the NOS120 directory, don't get ahead of yourself and start creating the OpenSUSE directory yet. You got to make sure you're in the right place before you do that. So I need to cd into NOS120 first. Okay, now that I'm in NOS120, I can create my directory. Okay, so you can do a PWD again if you wanted to beforehand, and you see it says /root /NOS120. Inside of there, I want to create my OpenSUSE directory. Okay, and then if I do a LL again, I'll see that I have that OpenSUSE directory there, and you'll see it in blue. That usually means it's a folder. You can also, when you do a LL, if you see this D here at the beginning for that first permission, that means it is a directory. Okay, so again, making sure you're where you currently need to be before moving forward, before creating another folder, before creating a file, before moving a file, that is always important. Okay. So next it says create a file named example1 within the /root directory. So where is the /root directory? Well, that's root's home directory. So first I need to cd back into that. Now I'm going to clear my screen really quickly because I'm building such a long list of commands and it's kind of running toward the bottom here. So kind of take a mental note of this, and I'm going to clear my screen. All the stuff will still be there, you know, just clear my screen. Okay, so I'm still right here in /root /NOS120, and I'm going to cd into /root one more time. Okay, because it tells me to create this example1 file within the /root directory. So now let me do a pwd again. I'm back in /root, and I'm going to create the example1 file. And it's only going to have one line of text, Thursday, October 5th, 2017. Now, there's a couple different ways you could do that. I'm going to show you a couple. You could do vim example1. It'll open up a file, and then you go into insert mode and type that line in there. Okay, so you could do vim example1, hit enter, and then we type I to go to insert mode, Thursday, October 5th, 2017. Then to exit out and save it, remember I do escape on my keyboard, shift and semicolon to make a colon down there, and WQ. So you should see that at the bottom. Okay, that means for write and quit, and hit enter. Now, how do I check to make sure that that stuff is still in that file? Remember, you can view a file with cat and then example1, and it returns to me what's in that file. I can also do a LL here, and I will see my example1 file right here. Okay. Now, there's another way to do that, which is the echo command. Now, if I did echo and just said hello, right, it's going to come back to the desktop for me. So you can actually redirect text into a file. So I could do like echo, and then you could do Thursday. And again, this is completely optional. Whichever way you did this, the VIM or this way, it would be completely fine. In parentheses, I'm going to do what I want to type in there because it's more than one word. Okay. And then I'm going to use a forward, like a forward wicket, okay, or a forward arrow little symbol, whatever you want to call it. It's basically shift and the period on your keyboard, okay, or the dot on your keyboard. So that, and then I'm going to do example1. Okay, I hit enter. What that does is, instead of it telling me like hello on the screen or it returning Thursday, October 5th, 2017 to the screen, it's actually going to send it to a file called example1. Okay, we've already got one, so it basically just overwrote that file. So if you do cat example1, I still see that information in there. Okay. So listing the default permissions for example1, so I can do a LL to be able to do that. We did that up here, and we'll see that it's read write for the person who created it, read for everybody who's in the group that owns it, which is root group. There's only one person in the root group, which is root, unfortunately. And then everybody else can read that file, basically anybody that falls into any other category, okay? Changing the permissions so that the file owner will have read, write, and execute permissions. All right, so I like the number method better. I'm going to show you both ways, but I'm only going to execute the number method. Okay, so changing the permissions for the example1 file so that the file owner will have read, write, and execute permissions. So right now, if you're going to use the letter method, which is basically like the O for owner, you know, each section broken out with the plus and minus, you're going to want to make sure, and it's U for user, G for group, O for other, or everybody else. So like for instance here, I've got read write permissions for example1. I wanted to have read write and execute. So how would I change that? Well, if you do a chmod is the command, it's change mode, which is going to change the permissions here. Okay, I could do U, which is the user that owns the file, plus X. I've already got read and write permissions, so I'm really just adding execute permissions to this first group, and then example1. Okay, that will add execute permissions for me. Okay, you could also string these together or do them one at a time. So if you hit enter there, you'll see it added execute permissions. Next, if you want to do the group, you do G, and it says read and write. Right now, the group only has read permissions, okay, up here, but it does not have write. So for G, we want to plus W for write permissions, example1. Okay, and then for everybody else, it says we won't have any permissions at all. So we have read permissions for everybody else. We want to take that away. So for other, we want to minus the read permission. Okay, example 1. So it's like taking it away. You can also string that together with, let's see, what do we, u plus execute, comma, and then we would do, what do we, add write permissions for the group, and then other take away read permissions, example 1. That would do it all in one fell swoop. Okay, I like the number method better. So with the number method, it assigns, and in your textbook it shows you that, a value to read, write, and execute for each section. So you got 3 numbers. So if this one is read and write right now, that's 4 for read, 2 for W, so that's 6 because there's no permissions for execute. So it's 4, 2, and 1. Read is 4, write is 2, execute would be 1, but there's nothing for execute, so I would have 6, 4 plus 2. Okay, but I want read, write, execute. So if I do that, it will be a 7. Read is 4, write is 2, and then execute is 1. So 4 plus 2 plus 1 would be 7 for the user. Now let's tackle the next set. Read and write is what I want. Okay, so it really doesn't matter what you currently have with this one, like the letter method, as I call it. The number method, though, if we want read and write, then we want to do 4 plus 2 is 6. So the second one, I'm going to do 6. And then for everybody else, I don't want any permission, so I'm just going to do 0. So, no permissions for anybody. Okay, and then example 1. I hit enter. Now let's do a LL to check that. So for the example 1 file, I've now got read, write, execute permissions for the file owner or the user that owns the file. I've got read, write permissions, no execute for the group that would own the file, and then everybody else has no permission. So you can kind of compare the two, the before and the after. The after is what we are pretty much after. Okay, that's what we want based off of this step here. Okay. Next, it says move the file example1 into the OpenSUSE directory that we created earlier and keep the same name. Now, right now, I'm going to clear my screen once more. Right now, I'm in the /root directory that contains the example1 file. So if I'm going to move a file, I use the mv command. I'm going to move this file where I currently am, so I can just reference it with a relative reference of just example1. You could put the whole thing, which would be /root /example1 if you wanted to, but I'm just going to do that. Okay. Then I want to put where it's going. So where is my file? I can just do this because I'm currently in that directory. Then I want to put where am I going? Where am I going? I'm going to /root /NOS120 /OpenSUSE. You have to put the full path name for the second place because you are not there. If I just put OpenSUSE right here for where it's going, there is no way on earth Linux knows what I'm talking about, because this assumes that OpenSUSE would be right, that directory or folder is right in the folder I'm currently at. Do we see OpenSUSE in any of these files or folders where I currently am? No. The only one we see is NOS120. Okay? So that is where we would want to make sure that we are doing our move appropriately for the second half. So we have to put the full path name, okay, of where it's going. We hit enter there. So we'll do a LL, and we no longer see the example1 file here, okay, because we moved it. So let's CD into we'll CD into NOS120. We'll do it one step at a time. Then we'll CD into OpenSUSE. Okay, and you can hit tab a lot of times and it'll finish it out. And then we'll do a LL. Okay, now we see example1, and if I do a PWD, I'm in my OpenSUSE folder. Okay, so that is using the move command to move it. And you see it kept the same name, same permissions. And if I do a cat example1, you see it says the exact same thing as well. Okay. All right, now let's clear our screen one more time. All right, so I am currently inside of the OpenSUSE directory. Always remember where you are, okay? Now the next step says I want to copy the whole NOS 120 directory and rename it copied NOS 120. The copied NOS 120 directory should also be in the /root directory. So that's where I'm going to move back to first. So I'm going to cd into /root, do a ll, make sure I see my NOS 120 folder there. I want to copy that whole folder and everything in it, okay? To do that, I have to do a copy command, but I have to put in that dash lowercase r. The dash lowercase r stands for recursive. That means I'm not just going to try to copy that one folder. I'm going to go into every file and folder inside of folders, and so on, to copy everything. So if you've got an empty folder, you don't have to do the dash R. But if you have a folder with stuff in it like we do, because NOS 120 includes the OpenSUSE directory, the OpenSUSE folder includes the example1 file, then we want to make sure we do dash R. So the command is cp-r, and then I'm going to do NOS 120. That's the file I want to copy. And then for the second one, I don't have to put a full path name because I'm going to rename that to copied NOS 120. That's going to be the name of the new file, but it's also going to go right into the same place I'm right now at, which is the /root directory here. Okay, so the directions tell you that. So I'm going to hit enter. Okay, it executed fine. So let's do a LL. And I now see I have still a NOS 120 directory, but I also have a copied NOS 120 directory. So let's go make sure that that copied NOS 120 directory has all the same stuff in it. So if I cd into copied NOS 120, hit enter, do a LL again, I see we have the OpenSUSE folder. Let me cd into the OpenSUSE folder, do a LL, I see I still have my example1 file, okay, that still has the same text in it. So to really make sure you're copying this correctly, again, you want to use the dash R and know what folder you're copying. I'm already in the /root folder that contains NOS 120. So I can just, again, reference it with a relative reference, and I'm not moving it somewhere else like we did with the move command. So I want to put it right back in the same location I currently am, so I don't have to use a full path name or reference here when I do copy NOS 120. So now I see I have both of the folders there. Okay, so I'm gonna clear my screen one more time. And again, in the real example, you don't have to clear your screen. I'm doing this just so you guys can see stuff. All right, now I want to remove the directory NOS 120 and all of its subdirectories and files. So I'm going to do a remove -r. Just like we did with copy, if you have an empty folder, you can just do a rmdir, which is remove directory, or a rm for like removing a file. But if you've got a lot of a folder that's full of stuff, you have to do rm-r and then NOS 120. And I notice here, you see no such file or directory. Why did it do that? Because I got to be in the folder with that. So I forgot to go into cd/root to go back to where my NOS 120 file is. So I did that on purpose so you guys could see exactly what I mean by you got to be in the right place, and make sure you know how to read these error messages. It says there's no such file or directory, then that would clue you into, am I in the wrong place? So I need, or you could have made a typo. So now I'm going to do rm-r NOS 120. Hit enter. Okay. Now you see it executed without any errors. I do a LL, and there is no longer a NOS 120 folder here, just the copied one. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do is within the /root directory, it says make a directory named scripts. So I'm going to do mkdir scripts. And within the scripts directory, so I'm going to cd into scripts, it says I'm going to create the following script file. Now to do a script file, I need to go into some type of text editor. So I'm going to use the vim editor that we've had experience using. So I'm going to do, since I'm already in scripts, I can just do vim. SCR1 is the file name, and I can put a relative reference again because I'm already in scripts. Make sure you change directories correctly first, because if I would have not changed directories and did vim SCR1, it would have put that in the /root directory, not in the scripts directory. Okay, so make sure you do that. I'm going to go into insert mode. Okay, well, actually, I'm going to hit type escape first, and I'm going to do shift : and I'm going to do set in U. Okay, and hit enter. What that does is it sets your line numbers. So this script that I'm running over here or typing in, you see these line numbers before it? You do not need to type those, and the directions tell you that. These are for your reference in case you were to make a mistake and to show you how many lines of text you need to make sure your file is right. Okay, so if you do : set in U and hit enter, it'll show you your line numbers. Okay, you do not need to type those though. So I'm gonna go back over here. I'm gonna go to insert mode by typing I. So I'm gonna do pound exclamation /bin /bash. Pound, this script is for practice. Clear echo -e, what is your name, space. Okay, read, username, echo hello, username, echo today's date is, date, echo : echo the people logged into the system include who, echo : or quotation, sorry, not colon. I think I said colon every time I meant quotation mark. All right, so once you have those 13 lines typed, remember that in your script file, yes, you can have words. Like every time it says echo, this is really for formatting and for me to really split up what is about to come next or tell you what's about to come next when I run it. But all of these are commands like read, the date command, which we've used, the who command. So all this stuff are really commands that we're using. Okay, the script is already set for you. You type it. I'm going to give you the exact script to type on the exam. So I'm going to save this with escape, shift : WQ, hit enter. Okay, so if I do a LL, I should see the SCR1 file there. Now I want to run the script without having execute permissions. How do I do that? Well, if I type in a /SCR1, that will allow me to run it without having execute permissions. Because if you notice, nobody has execute permissions here, not even the person who created it, which is me, root, right? So I have to do /SCR1. I hit enter. You notice it says permission denied. Okay, so I'm going to want to try to change that. So make the necessary changes. I'm going to do chmod. I'm going to give everybody permission. So I'm going to do 777. That will give everybody read, write, and execute permissions. That is okay for this file. It just tells you to make sure you make the necessary changes to be able to execute it. That's the easiest way to do it. Okay. So now I'm going to do /SCR1 to actually run this script. Now, if you wanted to run it without execute permissions, then you have to type the word bash SCR1. Then it would run it without having to do execute permissions. So I'm just going to do, again, /SCR1. Okay, hit enter. You notice it clears your screen because that was our line 3. It says clear my screen. What is your name? Anthony Lucas. Hit enter. Hello, Anthony. Now it tells me on line 7, my echo command cannot be found. Okay, this is actually good that I made a typo. All right, so what happened here? This is why I wanted you to see the line numbers. It says on line 7, this echo command cannot be found. Why? Well, it looks like I misspelled echo. I put EHCHO. Okay, so let's go back in and fix that. So I would go back to VIM SCR1. I'm going to escape, shift : set in U. And on line 7 up here, you see that I mistyped or misspelled echo. Okay, so I'm going to save that after fixing it. And I'm going to rerun my script. Okay, what is your name? Anthony Lucas. I hit enter. Now it says, hello, Anthony Lucas. No errors, right? It says today's date is, okay? Then it returns my date command. The people logged into this system include, then it tells you who's logged in. Now, obviously, root is not logged in necessarily because, like, I'm logged in as student, but I assumed root permission. So you'd have to go into, like, a whole separate part of the system to log in for it to show root was logged in. But anyway, this shows you how the script actually runs. Now, again, if you don't have execute permissions, you can type bash scr1 and it'll still run. But again, on the exam, I would be checking to make sure this script ran accordingly. Okay, so make sure you can do that. Next, using the less command, view the contents of the proc directory. Hint, the proc directory is in the root directory. Now, is that the root's home directory or the root directory? Root's home directory is /root. The root directory is just a /. So I'm going to cd into the / directory, which is the root directory, and do a ls, and I will see proc right there. Okay, so I'm going to now use the less command to view the proc directory. So less, and I'm going to do proc, hit enter. Now I can use my down arrows to be able to go through that information, all 219 lines. Now when you get to the end, it's going to probably beep at you. You just hit Q and it will quit. Okay, Q on your keyboard. Q is in queen or quail or quilt. All right. Now another one, to view information, you can do the head command. Okay, so the head command views the first 15 lines of the CPU info file. So I'm going to do head and then CPU info. Okay, now the CPU info is within the proc directory. So if I hit enter here, am I in the proc directory? No. So I need to cd into the proc directory first. Okay, then I'm going to do head and then CPU info. Now if I do this, what does the head command do by default? It shows me the first 10 lines of any file, only the first 10. So to do this correctly, I need to do a -15 because I want to view the first 15 lines of the file. I hit enter and you see it will display the first 15 lines, okay, of any file. Now I'm going to use the more command to view the contents of the etc directory. I got to go back though because I'm in /proc. etc is in the root directory, so I need to cd into the / directory or the root directory once more. I do a ls and I'll see the etc directory. So then I'm going to do more etc. Hit enter. All right, and we'll see that we get a different view. All right, it does not matter to me if you use more or less. I like less better because it gives you a much nicer view, but it's up to you. Okay, the next one says use the tail command to view the last 10 lines of the password file, and it is in the etc directory. So I have to cd into /etc first. Then I'm going to use tail and then passwd. That is not a typo. That is actually how that file is spelled. Now, tail will view the last 10 lines automatically, so no need to do the dash and a number. Okay, and that'll show me the last 10 lines. We'll actually get to use that file by exam 2, but not right now. All right, now we want to copy the version file from the /proc directory into the OpenSUSE directory we created earlier. So we're still using that one, and we're going to name the new file Linux kernel. Okay, so first we need to cd into the /proc directory to do that. All right, now we are going to copy that file. So I'm going to do cp, and there is a file called version. Okay, if you didn't believe me, you can search for it. cp version, okay, which is in the directory we're in. Now remember, OpenSUSE is way far away. Where is it at? /root copied NOS 120. Remember, NOS 120 is gone. Okay, so it's copied NOS 120, OpenSUSE, and then what do I want to name it? Linux kernel is the new name. If you wanted to keep it the same name, you don't even have to provide a name after OpenSUSE, okay, because that's the folder it's going in. But our new file is going to be called Linux kernel. So it's going to know to copy that file over there, leave the original, but the new name is going to be Linux kernel. So I hit enter. So I'm going to go CD into that spot, copy NOS 120, OpenSUSE, and then hit enter. And I'm going to do a ls, and I see my example1 and Linux kernel file there. And I'm going to cat my Linux kernel file. Hit enter. And you see that it copied the version of Linux, because that's what the version file had in there, over to that file and renamed it. Okay. Now, next, I'm going to view all the files within the /bin directory that start with the letter M. So the first thing I need to do, cd into /bin. So this is our wildcard character review. How do we view all files that start with the letter M? So I'm going to do a ls, that'll list my files, and then I can do well, actually I'm going to do a ll. It doesn't matter if you do ls or ll. All right, remember our wildcard characters are like brackets, we got an asterisk, and we've got the question mark and an exclamation point, all combinations of stuff. All right, so if I want to view all files that start with M, I can just do an M and an asterisk. What does that do? Well, it views every file that starts with the M because it says M and then asterisk. The asterisk means anything can come after it, no matter how many letters, what it is, anything. So I do a LL, and you see it will list everything. Mail, map SCRN, make directory, more, mount, MV, all the files that are in that directory, okay? If I wanted to view everything that started with the K, I do K, right? Or L, whatever it is, okay? The asterisk stands for all files. If I do a LL and then just do an asterisk, that's going to be everything, right? The next one, within root's home directory, create a directory named files. So I'm going to cd into /root, because that's a root's home directory. And I'm going to create a directory named files. Now I'm going to cd into files, because in that directory, it wants me to create 4 new blank files. Remember, to create a blank file, you do the touch command, and then file 1, file 2, file AB, file CD. I can do them all at the same time, and it's going to create 4 separate files. Okay, nothing's in them, but we're just doing this for an example. Now I want to view the files within this directory that only have numbers at the end. This is where you kind of have some leeway of how you do this. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways. So I'm going to do file, and then what if I do a asterisk? What's that going to do? That's not going to work, because that's going to view everything. Okay. Oh, sorry. I need to do ls or ll, and then file asterisk. There we go. LL file asterisk. That's going to view everything. That's not what I want. I only want to return file 1 and 2. So I could do this with a question mark, because remember, a question mark means only one placeholder. It could be a number, a letter, or anything, but it can only stand for one placeholder. So the other ones have 2 placeholders after the word file, a and a B, or a C and a D. So that will not return, because it doesn't fit that criteria. I would have to do 2 question marks after it for it to return file AB, because there's 2 placeholders there. So the 1 and 2 do not fit that category, because there's only 1 placeholder after the word file. Okay, so that's how you could do the last 2 steps of our instructions here. Or there's a lot of other combinations you could do. If you want to only view the numbers, you could do like a bracket and do 0 through 9 there. Hit enter, and it's going to return any numbers in that placeholder. Remember the brackets though, like for instance, if I do file bracket A through Z, right? It's going to cover any letter. It's not going to return anything, because these brackets stand for 1 placeholder. So I need 2 of them to return file A and AB and file CD. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways you can do it. A lot of flexibility there. I don't want to box you into one, just as long as you return the right values. Now, for these types of last ones, from like after we did using less onto the end, these are all ways to view files. I guess you're asking probably, how would I be able to see that? there is a history command that I can run to see all the commands that you have typed throughout your entire exam. So that's why I said on your real exam, you want to only do that once you're ready, okay? And you log in to your virtual machine. So it's kind of like a one and done shot. But you can go back and edit it. If you see you did something wrong, you can go back. I mean, as long as the final result is what I'm looking for, okay? So make sure that you go through this practice over and over, try it out by yourself. But if you get stuck, this video is where you want to come, okay? So get ready. Our exam for exam 1 is coming next week for chapters 1 through 5. And if you have any questions outside of this, please make sure to let me know.